Thank you for watching Time Warner Cable's Local Edition. I'm Brad Pomerance. Our guest is Bernard Parks, member of the Los Angeles City Council. He was also chief of police for the city of Los Angeles, so I'm particularly interested in speaking with you about gun violence. We know there was a lot of discussion about it. There still is in the wake of the Newtown massacres. I want to get a sense from you, what can a city do as it relates to gun violence?
There's several things. The city of LA has probably done more than most in the sense of managing guns, in the sense of how many you can purchase, trigger guards where they can be placed in the store,
right,
and things of that nature. So you're preempted to some degree by the state legislation. But there's a number of issues you can address at the local level. And then just recently, we as a city find our way to support major gun legislation at both the state and federal level.
I see.
As it relates to reenactment of the legislation that deals with the automatic weapons or semi-automatic weapons.
I want to ask you about investments, because we know that there have been discussions by various governmental entities. California with CalPERS and CalSTRS has been looking at whether the pension plan should divest from public corporations that manufacture guns. Very controversial move. What is the city of Los Angeles doing on that front? Because the city has its own pension plan. It's not part of CalPERS.
Yeah, the thing is, Jan Perry just recently went forward on a motion, and I seconded, that she asked each one of the three pension systems and also our Office of Finance, any entity in the city that invests money, to look at not only manufacturing but merchandising and a variety of connections with high-powered weapons, large magazines that are sold, ammunition, high-powered ammunition. And the first response that we received from one of our pension funds is over $200 million invested in companies like that. And
so is the move to look towards divestment?
That's exactly what the move is, and that you figure to be talking about gun violence, you certainly shouldn't be financially supporting nor getting rewarded by the kinds of merchandise they may sell or endorse.
But at the same time, and I've mentioned this to other members of councils and state legislatures, we do have a Second Amendment. We are Californians. Views are divergent on this issue. It's easy for us in Los Angeles, in a metro area, to be kind of quick to jump on pro-gun rights legislation. Is it time for us to step back a bit?
No, I think it's time for us to look at it as sensible. I think you can go overboard in looking at the Second Amendment. I don't think it ever talked about these large magazines, these military weapons. For the federal government several years ago to allow military weapons to come in the country as sporting weapons makes no sense then, it makes none today.
And I want to ask you about your view, especially given you were chief of police. There is no doubt that law enforcement has come out, I'll say, on the side of limitations on gun rights. But it doesn't seem as if their voices are heard very loudly.
Well, you know, what's interesting, years ago, law enforcement and the NRA were one and the same.
Right.
It wasn't until the cop killer bullet and the large military weapons that separated them as it related to their different causes. But they've been very vocal. A lot of the legislation in the city of LA has been supported and basically offered suggestions by LAPD and other law enforcement.
Why is it you have law enforcement, which generally is very revered, quite powerful in the best sense, on the one hand, but yet the NRA speaks louder?
Well, I think it speaks louder because of financial contributions. I think that the financial contributions to many elected officials, particularly on the federal level, makes them in conflict as it relates to that particular issue. And when you're preempted at the state level, or the state is preempting local jurisdiction, you can only touch the edges as it relates to dealing with that issue.
His name is Bernard Parks, member of the Los Angeles City Council. My name is Brad Pomerance. Thank you so much for watching Time Warner Cable's Local Edition.